Hello, everyone, and welcome to Easy English Every Day. I'm Mr. Speak. It's our first podcast lesson. We hope to bring you many more lessons to help you improve your English language skills.
And I'm Anna. We are delighted you joined us today as we're discussing ways to overcome feeling stuck in your English journey. Do you feel like you are not making progress with your spoken English?
The deep dive is starting right now, and today, we're tackling something I think a lot of you will recognize. It's that really frustrating speed bump in modern life.
Yeah.
The spoken English plateau.
Mm-hmm.
You know the feeling, right? You
Yeah.
can read, you can follow complex movies, you understand pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But then you open your mouth and all that knowledge you have stored up, it just seems to, vanish.
It's like hitting a wall, linguistically speaking. We actually saw a comment in the source materials that put it perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Someone said the English in their head was like driving a Ferrari, but when they actually spoke, it felt more like a car crash.
Oof. Yeah, that captures it.
So our mission today is to help you move past that feeling, that internal crash. We're going to focus on five pretty simple, actionable techniques and some really critical mindset shifts, too.
Okay.
These should immediately help boost your fluency and confidence, and they're pulled right from the stack of instructional guides and some motivational videos we looked at.
All right, we've got a mix here. Some quite technical linguistic methods, but also some advice on the mental side, the psychology of it all.
Exactly.
And the first foundational shift you mentioned. It feels pretty radical, actually, especially if you learned English in a traditional classroom.
It is a bit radical, yeah.
We have to stop thinking that speaking is the same as writing.
It's such an essential point to grasp. I mean, think about human history for a second. We've been speaking for, over 10,000 years?
Right, well, a long time.
But writing, that's only been around maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years. Speaking is the original way we communicate. It's primary.
And writing is just technology.
Writing's basically a technology we invented later to capture speech. They really are fundamentally different skills.
Okay, so if that's true, it means relying only on grammar books and written exercises.
Oh,
Well, that's kind of putting the cart before the horse, isn't it?
totally.
If speaking came first, then the big takeaway has to be that you learn speaking mainly by listening.
Exactly. By listening, it's much more immersive, like building muscle memory. Think about it like this. Imagine Lionel Messi offers to train you in football.
Okay, dream scenario.
Right. And you say, no thanks, Leo. I'm just going to stay home and read a book about footwork instead.
Yeah, nobody would do that.
But that's kind of what language learners do when they avoid really active listening. Listening lets you absorb the natural rhythm, the proper pronunciation, the context, stuff no grammar table can ever really teach you.
And the audio is everywhere now. Podcasts, videos.
No excuse not to just bathe your ears in it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But let's talk about the fear factor, because that fear of making mistakes, that seems to be the biggest roadblock for lots of intermediate learners.
It really is. Huge barrier.
The sources we looked at suggest a pretty powerful mental trick to kind of bypass that fear.
Yeah, it's all about lowering the stakes, reducing the pressure. The technique is basically this. Choose one important person, someone you really aspire to speak English fluently with one day.
Like who?
Could be anyone you admire, maybe Barack Obama or LeBron James or Warren Buffett, or maybe it's more practical, like a future boss or a really important client.
Okay, so I pick my one important person, then what?
Then everyone else you meet, every single English conversation you have, they get demoted. They become just practice.
Just practice.
Just practice. Once you really internalize that, a lot of the fear just evaporates. Your main goal shifts. It's not about being perfect anymore.
It's about volume, getting the reps in.
Exactly. You're just building reps, like in the gym.
Okay, that definitely helps with the anxiety part. But what about, the actual learning? If I'm just focused on volume and treating everyone as practice, don't I risk just practicing bad habits, making the same mistakes over and over?
That's a fair point, a valid concern. But the sources really emphasize that failure. It's inevitable. And actually necessary. It's part of the process. You have to allow yourself to sort of fail forward.
Right.
Look at the stats for really successful people. Babe Ruth, the baseball player. In his best ever year, he failed to hit a home run 2/3 of the time he stepped up to bat.
Wow, 2/3.
Yep. And Michael Jordan missed more shots in his career than he ever made. Mistakes aren't deficits. They're more like building blocks. They immediately show you where the weak spots are in your structure.
So it's about swapping that paralyzing perfectionism for just sheer, consistent volume.
Pretty much.
The message seems simple then. Consistency beats intensity. Make practice a daily thing, non-negotiable.
Like brushing your teeth, you just do it.
Right.
Short, small steps, but done every single day. That's what generates the massive shifts over time.
Okay, let's move on to some of those actionable techniques then, the ones designed to build that daily consistency. Starting with this idea of automation.
Yeah, automating vocabulary.
We need to get words out of our passive knowledge, where we just recognize them, and into our active knowledge, right? Where we can use them instantly, almost like driving on autopilot.
Exactly.
And tip 1 for this is something called the repeat and juggle technique.
This is a really clever way to kind of trick your brain into active use. You find an audio clip with a phrase you want to learn. Let's say it's, I love Paris.
Okay.
You listen and you repeat it out loud. I love Paris. That's the repeat part. Simple enough, establishes the basic pattern.
And the juggle.
The juggle part is where you immediately start changing bits of it. So you might swap the place. I love New Delhi. Or maybe change the person. She loves Paris.
For the tense.
Or change the tense. I loved Paris. I will love Paris. You keep the core structure, but swap elements in and out.
I can see how that repetition, that juggling, would really solidify the grammar patterns without you even thinking about grammar rules.
Exactly. It makes it automatic.
But how do we make sure we're building fluency with, like, whole thoughts, not just repeating single words or short phrases?
Well, that leads perfectly into tip 2, which is about moving beyond single words and focusing on chunks.
Chunks.
Yeah, chunks. These are just pieces of language, usually maybe 2 to 4 words long, that tend to stick together, like best friends.
Examples.
Things like collocations, heavy rain, or idioms, kick the bucket, or even just common fillers on top of that. The point is, we need to stop trying to build every sentence word by painful word.
Okay, why is learning chunks so much faster for fluency?
Well, there's a good analogy in the sources. The brick builder.
Right.
Imagine a builder laying bricks for a house, one single brick at a time. It's slow, right? He has to check the alignment, put mortar on each one.
Very slow.
But now imagine you hand him pre-glued layers of maybe 4 or 5 bricks already stuck together perfectly.
Much faster.
Way faster, and probably more accurate too. Learning chunks like monthly report or shopping spree or make a decision as a single unit means your brain just retrieves the whole chunk. It bypasses all the effort of calculating the grammar between those words.
You just grab the chunk and plug it in.
Instant fluent language use. It dramatically reduces the mental effort, the cognitive load.
And speeds up sentence construction. Okay, speaking of construction, let's shift from, say, accuracy and speed to actual clarity. Tip 3 stresses daily pronunciation practice.
Yes, and this is crucial. The goal here isn't about getting rid of your accent. Let's be clear on that.
Okay, not accent reduction.
No. The goal is intelligibility. It's just about making sure your mouth can produce the sounds clearly enough that people understand you easily without straining to listen.
So how do we best train our mouths for that clarity?
The research highlights 3 main methods. First, pretty simple, just read aloud every day. Even for a few minutes, it really helps with rhythm and intonation.
Okay.
Second, for the more technically minded, learning the basics of the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA, can be useful. It gives you a precise map for any sound.
Right, the symbols for sounds.
But the most powerful method, according to these sources, is the imitation technique. Or sometimes it's called shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah.
That's where you listen to a native speaker and try to speak along at the exact same time, mimicking them.
Precisely. You're literally trying to copy the sound waves, the rhythm, the stress, the intonation, everything. You're training your mouth using your ears, not your eyes reading a phonetic chart.
Ears, not eyes. I like that.
It connects the sound directly to the muscle movement.
And that connects directly to something I found really surprising in the materials, tip 4, mastering blending and contractions.
Ah, yes. Crucial.
I always kind of assumed that blending sounds together, like saying gonna instead of going to, was maybe lazy speech or informal.
A common misconception.
But these sources argue that if you don't use them, or at least recognize them, you'll constantly feel lost in real conversations.
It's absolutely critical for natural speed and smoothness. Think about it. If you only ever learned the correct form going to, then the first time you hear a native speaker say gonna, your brain just stalls.
Because it's different sound signal.
Completely different. You have to learn to recognize and even use these fast blended forms to sound natural, and maybe even more importantly, to understand others when they speak at a normal pace.
Okay, let's nail down a few of the really common ones listeners need to get automated.
Sure. The most frequent ones are often around verbs like I want to, almost always becomes I wanna.
I want to try this.
Exactly, I have to. Very often sounds like I have to.
I have to finish this.
Right. And the big one, the future tense going to, collapses into gonna. She's gonna take the train.
Okay.
We also see it with things like give me becoming gimme. Could you give me a moment?
And the one that seems to trip everyone up, that combination of a D sound followed by a Y sound, like in do you.
Yeah, that often sounds like a J sound, like ya, or maybe do you?
So, do you want to grab lunch? Becomes
Sounds more like you want to grab lunch. If your ear is waiting for that clean, separate do you, you'll miss the question entirely.
wow. Recognizing those blends really shifts you from being a sort of intellectual translator to an actual fluent communicator.
That's the idea. It bridges the gap.
Right, that gives us a lot of really specific techniques for the mechanics of speaking. Let's swing back to the mental game again. Tip 5 is about building confidence by pushing your comfort zone.
Yeah, confidence isn't something you wait for. It's a result of taking action.
You don't find it, you build it.
Exactly. You build it by deliberately stepping outside what feels comfortable. And that means, well, speaking with real people, getting used to that feeling of being nervous.
And making mistakes in front of them, even like an IELTS examiner.
Yes, even then, especially then maybe, you need to normalize the experience of performing under a bit of pressure.
Okay, but if someone listening is really nervous about just jumping into a conversation with a stranger right away, what are some lower pressure ways to start practicing this pushing the comfort zone idea?
Good question. Start really safe. Practice speaking in front of a mirror.
The mirror. Why?
It's a totally non-judgmental audience, for one. Plus, you get to see your own body language, your facial expressions, your gestures. Are you looking confident even if you feel nervous?
That's smart. What else?
Record yourself. Audio is good. Video might be even better. Then, and this is the important part, listen back or watch it critically.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
It can be initially, but that recording loop is like your own private feedback system. You can spot habits, track your progress over time, hear where you need to improve. It's incredibly powerful for self-correction.
The power of self-correction.
Yeah.
Okay. Then tip 6 introduces 2 key mental habits: thinking in English and practicing summarizing. Why summarizing?
Well, thinking directly in English is obviously faster. It cuts out that slow, exhausting mental step of translating everything back and forth from your native language. Your response time gets way quicker.
Right, that's buffering.
Exactly. And summarizing builds on that. It forces you to organize your thoughts concisely in English. You take a big chunk of information, maybe a story you heard, an article you read, even just a long explanation someone gave you, and you practice condensing it down into just a few key sentences.
So it works 2 ways.
Yeah, it strengthens your listening, pulling out the main ideas and your speaking by forcing you to structure those ideas clearly and briefly.
Very efficient. Okay, finally, tip 7, real immersion, getting outside the artificial bubble of the classroom.
That bubble is comfy, isn't it? Course books use limited vocabulary. Teachers often speak slowly. They politely correct your mistakes.
Yeah, it feels safe.
But the real world isn't like that. Real world English is fast, it's messy, it's full of complex ideas, and frankly, it's impatient. It expects you to keep up.
So to really break through that plateau, you have to immerse yourself in stuff that was not made for language learners.
Absolutely. That means things like news broadcasts, maybe current affairs shows, podcasts like this one, films, content made for native speakers.
Right, stuff where they aren't slowing down for you.
And when you're consuming that native content, the advice is don't stop every 5 seconds to look up words. Try to listen through once or twice just for the general meaning, the gist.
Train your brain to handle ambiguity.
Exactly. Get comfortable not understanding everything immediately. And crucially, you need interaction. Listening is vital, but it's not enough on its own.
So find people to talk to.
Find speaking partners. The sources mention platforms like italki or Cambly as good places to find people for that real-world practice and, importantly, the corrective feedback you won't get just listening to the radio.
Okay, so this whole deep dive really, from the mindset shifts like the important person idea to the nitty-gritty repeat and juggle technique, it all seems to boil down to one thing: dedication. persistence.
It definitely requires time and effort. No magic bullet. But the payoff, the transformation can be massive. We saw that really inspiring story in the source materials. Remember the woman from the remote village in China?
Oh yeah, the one who started out literally leading a water buffalo.
That's her. But she just committed herself completely, proactively. Got up super early every day to watch English news broadcasts from Hong Kong. Got a job working shifts at an international bar just to be around English speakers.
Traveled hours every week just to attend an English Corner meetup.
Incredible dedication. And because of that intense, proactive commitment, that habit building, she ended up graduating top of her class at university, passing the super tough US CPA exam for accountants.
And became a highly successful manager at a big consulting firm in the US, advising American clients.
Her journey just shows, doesn't it? Even the most ambitious goals aren't usually achieved through some giant leap. They're achieved through those small, consistent steps, done every single day.
That commitment really brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. You've heard about the power of shadowing, the flexibility of that juggle technique, the need for real interaction, maybe finding an online community. So the question is, what will your 30-minute daily English habit be, starting today?
What's that one small step you're going to commit to turn it into massive momentum?
The challenge is set. We'll see you on the next deep dive.